I'm so glad the alert went out. We are live. Happy Wednesday. Hello, Ray Marie. I'm so sorry if I said that wrong. Hi. This feels so weird. I'm solo this week as far as my co-host. Man, Melissa is having an amazing time on her vacation and she sends her love. But let's be real, the girl is enjoying some sunshine and water pool drinks. So, hello you guys. Oh, thank you. I'm glad I got it right. Awesome. Well, hello. I'm so excited to have you guys here. I feel like this is going to be an amazing episode. We have a wonderful guest, and I'm so excited to bring her on here in a few minutes. Hi, guys. Hello. I love seeing you guys all joining in. Where are you guys coming from? Let me know the state, because with all of these topics of finances this week, it's been so interesting how many things vary from state to state. And where are you guys from? Because I know we have Arizona and Texas covered here, but we'd love to see your guys' state. So maybe we can help with specified content. But Pennsylvania, oh, East Coast. Arizona, yeah. Alabama, look at you guys. Iowa, hello. California, yes, some West Coast over here. Good old Texas. I love it, love it. Awesome. Well, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to go ahead and get started. Reason why is we have so much content to cover tonight. So I just wanted to hit on a few key points. Hey, B. Before we bring the wonderful Miss Molly on. So I just want to let you guys know, thank you. Thank you for answering all of our poll questions this week that we had in our stories as far as your financial questions, your financial burdens, all of that good stuff. It really helps when we are formatting our lives and kind of focusing on where you guys would like to see that focus. So with that being said, we took all of your guys' suggestions and sent them over to the wonderful Miss Molly and kind of had her categorize your questions into groups. So that way we could hit the most points for you guys. With that being said, I know I said it in our stories today. If you did not get a chance to catch it, this is one perspective. So just like with cookies, just like with cakes, as we all know, there's so many different ways you can make a sugar cookie. There's so many different ways that you can look at finances, and it's really going to come down to what your specific business model looks like. I know last week we kind of went over that, or was it 2 weeks? I don't even know now. Maybe last week? Last week. The breakdown of the business checklist, just like a hobby and a part-time and a full-time, all those finances are gonna look different too. So the questions that were very specific based, like, I am a hobby baker and I only make X amount, how much should I be charging if I had a corporate customer come? Those are very specific to your business directly. So those ones we're really not going to be able to touch too much on, but we are really looking to give you guys some great information, great tools to add to your belt as a business owner and give you guys some direction that if you do have those specified questions, give you a roadmap on where to go. So please keep that in mind. And last, before I bring on Molly, I did want to say we're having a little bit of a different format. So we're not gonna do our Bake of the Week today on the live, but I will be posting that tomorrow. So you guys will see that one. And we have some creative ones. I love seeing everything you guys come up with. And next, we are going to try and get through all our materials since Instagram only gives us an hour that we learned last week and they booted us off. But if we can get to some questions, we will if they're not specific. But I will go back and watch this for your guys' questions. So then that way, if there are things that we can do some research on for you guys, we would love to help you. So let me see if I can add Molly. Let me do this. I'm gonna West. Thank you. You know, this is like day 2, 3 here where you're just like, I can't wash it. And Miss Molly's on. Yay!
Hi.
Welcome. We're so excited. Everybody say hello to Molly, Miss Molly Mayfield. I love your name. It's like such a great flow.
Thank you. I love
our wonderful CPA. I'm so excited for you guys. Yay. Awesome. Okay. Since we have that hour before we get yeeted off the platform.
Yes.
Tell us about yourself. Give us your great elevator pitch about a little bit of background with you.
Sure, I would love to. So first of all, thank you for having me here. It's been super great to get to know you and get to know the Cookie Channel a little bit, and just to get to know what you do in general.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. I am a CPA, and I also am a financial consultant. However, my upbringing was in a small business that was like a retail business focused around providing health food, and also we also had like a deli and bakery area. So
I love that.
Yes, so food in general is, near and dear to my heart, and I'm excited to offer what I can to you in terms of just my experience with a profession as it relates to CPA, but also back office function, and just being a part, me being a part of a family business for so long and things like that. In terms of my CPA experience, I'm about 20 years into my career, and
boss. I love it.
I'm like a warrior, I think.
There you go.
So I have been exposed to a lot of different types of businesses, and also a lot of different problem solving that I've had the opportunity to do. Basically, I started off in public accounting as an auditor, and then I did that for about 5 years, and I got to learn the ins and outs of a lot of different businesses. And then I had a career in private accounting, like leading basically the back office and accounting function for different types of organizations. Including like a TV station, some manufacturing entities, financial services, and nonprofits. So kind of a broad experience range. And then today I offer services that support business owners in basically sustaining and improving their back office function as they need. And so I'm having a lot of fun with that. It's kind of a season in my career where all my experience really can meet my passion.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship and supporting people like you who have this amazing business happening.
Oh, my face hurts, you guys, because I'm like, I spent so much time with Molly this week that I just love her. She's like, I'm like, yeah, I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you so much.
It's amazing. And I love that you mesh with our world in the sense of we're all small business owners. And I love, like, we're chasing our passions.
Yes.
So I love that your world meets our world in that sense, that we're all just here because we want to make a difference for somebody else. And we want to give back to others.
Yes, absolutely. One of my friends I was talking to recently, she was telling me about a small business owner that she kind of sent my way, and she was telling me about him, and she goes, he's just on fire. And I go, well, that's perfect, because small business owners are on fire are my jam to get
yes
yes. So yeah, you described that perfectly.
I love it. I have to ask you, because so many of our people here are Office fans, is the Office accounting really what accounting is, or is that a lie?
Well, I don't know. Do you see that I have a pocket protector, or like I don't have a correct shirt on then?
There you go. See?
One of the things that I really enjoy about my career and how I can collaborate with people is that I feel like I really bring energy to the whole responsibility of money and accounting, and it can be so daunting.
Yeah.
Believe me, like, I get it. I've absorbed it from every angle, and my life hasn't always been perfect financially, but in terms of like living in a thriving business, you know, I also was a part of our business in terms of just witnessing, you know, what happened as it got more seasoned.
Yeah.
I have so many lessons too, just from being like on the outside of a company, looking in as an auditor and things like that. So, yeah, this is a really fun time in my career. And I mean, it's okay to have a little bit of fun when we're taking care of serious business.
Right, right. I mean,
yeah.
What we're about. So you've made great intro on that and used some great words, but CPA, accountant, tax, like I feel sometimes that we hear all of these. See, just gotta stop. People are saying they're curious too. I knew it. We're all Office fans here.
Okay, yeah.
Can you go into just a little? No problem. Can you go into a little bit of information? Kind of give us like, what is a CPA? Do I need a CPA? All of those good things. Like, what is really the benefit of a small business having somebody like that in their tool belt?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for asking. So first of all, I always jump into saying I'm a CPA, and I forget to say, you know, I'm a certified public accountant.
Okay. There you go.
So, there, you know, you can be an accountant without being a CPA. And also, fun fact, you can, if you have certain other credentials, you can be okayed by the IRS to file someone's tax return, even if you're not a CPA.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. See?
Yeah, and I actually forgot to share that with you when we were chatting this week. But that is something I thought of, because people may think, well, you know, I get my taxes done every year and so does it, but I don't know who does it there. I don't know if they're a CPA. Well, there's a, you know, framework that has to be followed in certain credentials, but you don't have to be a CPA to do someone's taxes.
Okay, perfect.
And so like I said, you know, you also don't have to be a CPA to run someone's books in terms of managing their back office and, you know, basically performing the accounting function of their business. You don't technically have to be a CPA. So you may ask, well, why would I want a CPA then?
Right.
And some people think, well, okay, you know, CPA may be nice, but that's just way too expensive, or they're going to be, you know, they're just out of my league.
I'll agree. I thought that, like, this is terrifying. I'm already a small business owner spending so much money.
Yes.
It's just another thing I'm going to spend money on. Is it needed? Why would I need it?
100%. Yes. So what I really strive to do at Greenflex is meet in the middle in terms of what the profession thinks of themselves, and you know, what it is reasonable and practical for people to invest. And that being said, I think, you know, there's also this component of when you're a CPA, okay, you have certain requirements in terms of how many hours of school you have to have in order to, and how many credits, how many college credits in order to even sit for the exam. And when I was in undergrad, I'm not going to age myself, but this is kind of aging myself. If there's any CPAs or accountants out there asking, or, you know, who know about this time, back when I was in undergrad, it was the year that everything changed from you just had to have an undergraduate degree to you had to have a graduate degree in order to sit for the exam. Not necessarily a graduate degree, but that equal a number of hours. So anyways, first of all, you're more educated now typically than the average accountant, because, you know, an average accountant has a BA, gone to school for 4 years, etc. So you have that extra investment in your education, and then you had to study for the CPA exam and, you know, understand the material, which there are different parts of the exam, but it basically does a sometimes broad or sometimes a deeper dive into different areas of our responsibility that we may hit at any time in our profession, like tax, audit, ethics, which is a big one. right?
Yep.
Because the reason I bring that up is because as a CPA, you have an ethical obligation to basically, respect the money in a certain way and respect your responsibility to the money. Of course, there's horror stories, about
Always. We have them in our industry too. Yeah.
Yeah, and things like that. But that's one of the things that I think is very special about a CPA is because, if you're working with me, I'm honest. I respect the money and I'm just, how I work is I'm just transparent. So really what I think you get with a CPA is more experience. You get, a person who has a broader area of knowledge to pull from, and that means that we can pull from that in deeper ways in certain areas.
Yeah.
But whereas if you as a small business owner hired, say, a bookkeeper, that bookkeeper could maybe help you, with your QuickBooks file and get all the transactions coded, or
right,
pay all your bills, things like that. But as your CPA and as your source for helping, your back office, I could help you from your bookkeeping all the way to paying your employees, if you have that, to paying your bills, to writing grants, to partnering with you on your business plan as your business develops and you need different, spaces or tools. And also, me as a CPA, I'm also signed up and qualified with the IRS as an electronic tax preparer. And so,
yay,
with a person like me, you can really get, everything all in one and know that you have that support. So I'm like all in right now, and I have I give my phone number to my clients once we're engaged, and they text me when they need to, and I'm just kind of like right there with you in your back pocket.
I love that. It's like you're a partner. You're like our business partner on the things. Like, I don't want to focus on the money. Like, tell me below if this is you, because this is me. Like, I don't want to sit and do the books. Like, I want to focus on my skill of decorating, and I want someone else to worry about, like, you do that stuff.
Absolutely. And that is one of my favorite parts about serving my clients, is that I get to enable them. I get to help them do their craft even better. And because I give them peace of mind, right? In terms their bank accounts are reconciled every month, so they know all of their transactions are recorded, which means their financial statements are they can depend on the information presented in their financials. I mean, I kind of geek out over my technology and all of that.
We love that.
I literally spend hours just digging into the detail of what goes on in your back office and helping it be organized and making sure that you understand it and all of that. One thing that I pride myself on too is the engagement piece. So a lot of CPAs, we all, you mentioned the office. I mean, I think we have the stigma of I have this one friend that says, "I just love you, Molly. Like, you're not the typical CPA.
You're not Angela. You're not over here like, don't talk to me."
Right. So that's, I really push to engage with my clients. Like, I'm not just going to send you your financial statements every month, but let's sit down and, have a discussion about them. And then let's take a look at your budget and see how is your spending, and, in comparison to the budget we created for your year, how are your profit margins? And I know we'll get into some of that a little bit. But really, to sum it up, I mean, it's basically, as a business owner, you want your finances to look as good as your body, right?
Yes.
In order to do that, you have to have fitness. So it's like, engaging with a CPA or with a person like me is a way for you to get that fitness for your bank account, basically.
Yes, you're like our trainer. Like, I go to the gym and I need a trainer to tell me how to build the muscles. Like, I love the fact that, if I'm understanding this all correctly, like CPAs are those people that obviously are doing the bookkeeping and stuff, but I love the educational aspect to it. Like, you're educating the business owner on
Yeah.
this is how you run your business. And like, I guess I'm picturing like the sprint, not marathon, or it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, you're not just trying to get to the finish line. So I love that. Okay. That makes sense. Like, that is something that you would pay for, instead of meaning like, hey, just make sure my numbers add up in the end. Like,
Right.
it's the whole journey. I love that.
Chelsea, yes. And like, I'll give you an example. I take on clients like I'm about to describe pretty strategically, but like I did have a client who I was interested in, and I was kind of courting a little bit. I actually was his customer first. And then, I kept wondering like if he needed help or what was going on, and kind of would gently reach out about it. Well, then right about time taxes are due, yes, I finally hear from him. He's ready.
Yeah.
Like he's wanting me now. So then, I'm ready and I want to help, but it's like I'm in a pickle. I got in a pickle because I have a time situation now. It's like I have the opportunity for the work, but I also now have, a need to do some cleanup work in order for me to even do the tax piece.
Right.
So, I took care of what we needed to take care of, got the extension filed, and now we have a little bit more time so I can do that piece and then, get his tax piece done. But the idea is that, like, we need to be working together all year long so I can, not be trying to do everything at once. It's just too ineffective for my client, for him and for us.
Well, so, even as a business owner, it's so overwhelming. By the time taxes come, you're like, just going to push it all the way to the deadlines. I don't even want to think about going through all this paperwork. So that makes sense on how you wouldn't want that either. Like, you have to have that client. So
yes.
That's amazing. So I know we have so many questions for you.
Yes.
And one big question. What was that?
I got too chatty.
No. Dude, Melissa and I got kicked off last week. Instagram was counting us down. So one big question that a lot of our followers had, and we kind of touched on it last week for our business basics, is when you set your business up, so many of us were like, do we go sole proprietor? Do we go LLC? Like, where do I need to be? And am I legitimate if I'm one over the other? Like, what does that look like? And as small business owners, what do I need to do? Give it to me. Where do I go?
Okay, this is a great question. First of all, I feel like LLCs have gotten popular lately. I will share with everyone that for about 35 years, my parents ran a 10,000 square foot retail space with 30 employees, around 30, as a sole proprietorship.
That's amazing.
Yes. So you can definitely be a sole proprietor. And what that means to be a sole proprietor is it basically, please also look up the legal definitions and everything. Mm-hmm. But basically what it means is that a sole proprietor has business, creates business income that they have to report on their Schedule C tax return. Mm-hmm. So basically, if you don't have this self-employment income, the sole proprietor income, you would not have a Schedule C on your tax return.
Okay.
So we'll talk more about that later, but the basic difference between sole proprietor and LLC comes to liability that you're exposed to as a business.
Okay. What's that mean?
When you're a sole proprietor, basically, there's no difference between you and the business in terms of the depth of liability you could be exposed to. Mm-hmm. If something went wrong and maybe you got sued or something like that, meaning your assets are up for grabs too. There's no distinction between you as the business owner or you as the person. There's no distinction between the business and the person, basically.
Right, like you wouldn't be suing Rolling in the Dough AZ, you would be suing Chelsea.
Yes, it's like
Yes.
one and the same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, there's no identity difference. All right, so so then the sole proprietor would be under your own social, you are your business.
Yep.
What does the LLC look like for a business?
And then the LLC it's abbreviation for limited liability company.
Mhm.
And here's the one thing I want to say about an LLC is that the main difference comes to the liability, like I said, that you're exposed to as the business. So with an LLC, there's more protection. There's more of a difference, a distinction between the business and the person.
Okay.
And then from a tax perspective, you can be a single member LLC. So for example, with my firm, I have a different type of LLC. It's called a PLLC, a professional limited liability corporation, because of my or company, because of my profession. You know, I can have that distinction. But anyway, I am the only member in my, you know, I'm the only owner in my LLC. So in terms of my income, that income will go on our tax return through the Schedule C, just like it would if I was a sole proprietor.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yes. So when you get to more than one member LLC, the tax, you know, is treated a little bit differently from a tax perspective. But the main difference I think for our audience is to liability, and then also maybe a little bit of a consideration around costs, because it will cost you to get your LLC paperwork done, get it established, and all of that. And you can usually either work through, you can find a way to do it yourself, or you can work through a lawyer, or some accountants will do it as well.
Awesome. So with the LLC, then, since you're saying there's the separation, so with the sole proprietor, it would be under my social security. Would I need an EIN then for the LLC?
That's a very good question. Okay, so the EIN distinction is, first of all, I have to explain what that abbreviation is.
Yes.
It's employer identification number, and this is a federal number. So it is basically how the federal government kind of puts a label on your business, or a tag, if you will.
Like the social security number for your business.
Absolutely. Yes.
My business has a baby now.
Such a good way to put it. Yes. So, so basically you really need an EIN number if you are employing people.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So for example, back to my parents.
Yeah.
They, like I mentioned, they were a sole proprietorship for like 35 years. But pretty much from the beginning, they employed people in some way, shape, or form. So they had an EIN all of those years, so that they could, you know, do that, so that they could pay employees and have the fun of paying all the employer payroll taxes and all of that.
All that good stuff. Yes.
Yeah. So I think EIN and LLC really go hand in hand, because if you're, you know, like for me right away, I signed up, I did get my EIN, even, you know, because I knew what my plans were for the firm.
So like if I'm looking for so obviously if I have employees, then I need the LLC. So would that be maybe more the route if you are looking to go from like a part-time hobby baker? Like I'm a full-time baker right now. So if I was like, I want to open a storefront, then probably the LLC would be something
100%
I would want in the future. Okay, that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, I definitely got to a point with my parents where I was like, okay, why are you still a sole proprietor? You know, my brother.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And then my brother harping on, you know.
Yeah.
My parents were just some OGs. They weren't scared.
Yeah, no. Now, and I think it's a lot of what we're learning through all of this, and we're all learning together, is it's just so much information. It's like, how do I parse what needs my attention? Where do I go? It's almost like we're all just afraid of doing it wrong, that we want to make sure we're doing it right.
Yes. So. And that's where your relationship comes in with your money person. I
Right.
mean, I talk to my clients every day. If I mean, some of them every day, if not every day, about every other day, usually.
That's amazing.
For the really, heavy duty clients that I have.
Yeah.
So I show up, and I think that that's more than half of the battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's because let's face it, what we have to, or not what we have to, but what we choose to go through as a business owner sometimes is anxiety producing,
Mm-hmm.
exhausting, yet exciting. I mean, all these energies exerted, and I get it. Like, I understand. And, if I'm your partner, like, I'm here for you through those,
Right. I just want to like bring in the money.
Yes, exactly. Like, you, Molly, figure out what to do with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of bringing in money, do
Yeah.
you have one of the things that is huge in our community is pricing of our products, and like we kind of are in a boat of how much do I charge? What is it? I know we have our cost of our product, but we're all always saying like, well, our time is valuable, but how much money is like, how do we get to a point? Is that something that a CPA can help you with as far as like figuring out your pricing of your products?
That's a very good question. So, if as far as if a CPA can help you with that, here's what I think, and here's why I created my firm and why I show up the way I do, because I think in my profession, CPAs that serve small business owners in general, we have a gap. Like, we're focused, usually, the CPA is always focused on your compliance, your external compliance, making sure that your taxes are filed correctly. And that your financial statements, are done to the extent they're needed for your tax. Basically, sales tax filings, payroll tax filings, like your typical CPA is going to make sure, if they're any type of decent CPA, they're going to make sure all that's done, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's like the long end of the journey. We're supposed to get there is the taxes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, that's the ultimate goal. And that's
right.
So what I have observed in all these years from being on the inside, being a part of making the processes work, making the accounting processes work, and then just experiencing kind of like feedback that people would have for me about their own situation or whatever, or questions that people would come to me with, just even knowing that I was an accountant, I could tell there was this gap in level of service that CPAs would, or, typically give to clients. So what I'm saying is, that level of consultation in terms of the nitty and gritty of your business is why I'm not tooting my own horn, but you want to work with someone who's going to be engaged with you on that level, and committed to being engaged with you on that level. And that's a part of my culture, and that's a part of what's important to me in terms of my offering, from Green Flex. And I know, because I'm, a part of a couple communities of CPAs like me, I know there are other, CPAs out there in our country who kind of have that same mission that I do. But what I'm saying is, if you, want some detailed help like that, make sure you're choosing the right person to partner with. Basically.
You have to like date around to find that CPA. You got to interview them.
I do. I think you heard me earlier mention a client that I was courting. He may not have known I was courting him, but and I got him. But I mean, I'm just saying, it's a process of getting to know each other and buying into each other's, needs, and being able to do so. So thank you for listening to that soapbox. But when it comes to specific guidance on pricing, pricing is so tricky, and it's like, look in your magic 8 ball and figure it out. I mean, it's like the $1 million question,
It is.
Try to figure out. And believe me, I'm in the same boat too. Even though I don't offer a tangible product, I offer service, and peace of mind. But anyways, so I have a couple of overall thoughts about price.
Okay, give it to us.
Okay. One is first of all, the first thing is you have to know your cost, right? Mm-hmm. And so I say that sounds simple, but I realize that it's not, because when you are making, when you're making what you all make, these amazing cookies, I suspect that you sometimes have to use very small amount of things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it might be something that you already have on hand, things like that. You know, you may be, if you're a hobby baker or something like that, you may be kind of doing it at strategic times in your day, you know, and not like a block of time. So it may be hard for you to think about how much time you're spending on it, things like that. So the first thing is to think through your costs really in detail. So think through that material cost. Mm-hmm. And then the other costs that aren't going to be considered when you think about material is what your labor cost is and what your cost is. Mm-hmm. So growing up, a typical rule of thumb that my mom would have, who was really the one running the pricing in our deli and bakery and in our retail store too, she would always have the rule of thumb of, I take my cost times it by 3, and I'm at least charging that.
That's a good, I think that's a great baseline for all of us to just kind of give me some direction on where to start. So cost times 3 and you'll be profitable.
Yeah. I mean, but the other thing is you have to look at too, how that labor piece, like I mentioned, mm-hmm. Make sure that you're thinking about that clearly. Like, how long is it really taking you to frost and then print, you know, what you're printing on each cookie, or if you have another way of doing the art. Did you have to buy a machine to do that special art? Right. Was that machine and you know.
And bakers, include your bags and boxes. Those are all part of your cost. Your shred, your bag, your box, your heat sealer, your stickers.
Yes.
Everything adds up.
All of that. Yes. Mm-hmm.
So and go ahead.
The magic of the pricing. So these factors are all what you should consider when it comes to pricing, but then you get to see if it works when you get to see your overall profitability of your business. And you're only going to be able to see that. I think we're going to get to this next or a little bit later, but the only way you're going to be able to see that is if you have a profit and loss statement going.
Right.
And so, you know, there's a strategic way that you can get that done too as a business owner. But basically, if you start looking at your profit and loss and you're not making enough money, or you're not you're not in the clear, mm-hmm. you know, there's something wrong with your pricing that you have to look at, because basically what that means is there are costs that are hitting your P&L that you're not able to fully support based on what you're charging. So that's why, Chelsea, it's so important, no matter what level of this business you're in, whether mm-hmm. you can have hobby income or part-time baker or full-time baker, you have got to know where your profitability is at so that mm-hmm. you know how to adjust.
To grow from there. And I know we had discussed it because of something that we all face being so spread apart. There's not an industry standard for us or anything in the sense of this is the hard cost for everybody, so we're all going to base off this pricing model. We've discussed it. We really need to think about your area that you're in also, because California might be charging here, but small town Minnesota might be right here. Doesn't mean that your work isn't as valuable. It's just you kind of have to be aware of the market that you're in. Does that play into pricing? I guess I'm just speaking, but I know we had touched on.
100% it does.
Okay.
And also, you know, I would say too, it may play into it a little bit, the types of customers you're serving in those markets.
Yes.
For you all, you know, I know this may be different for for example, for cake bakers, but mm-hmm. I imagine there are people who would love a set of real fancy cookies at their wedding,
Right,
or
right, yes.
or at their elaborate first, kid's first birthday party, or
Hmm.
um so I think some of that too is like, I know I have a specific industry that I serve, and that I have specific pricing for them that I would never charge outside of that, you know
Right, right.
so that's a factor too, for sure. And I encourage you too, as the business owner, to try some things. I mean, and to be to to think more of yourself, because usually you're lowballing yourself.
Yeah.
I,
We all hear that one. Charge more for your product.
yeah. Because a lot of times we're not thinking of all of the taxes that we have to cover as the business owner. And we'll get into this if we have time a little bit, but you have obligations too as the business owner to pay your federal taxes and sales tax, obviously, but you collect that. It's not a cost to you as the business, but licenses that you may need. There are different things I need to support my business other than the business that I engage in.
And I'm glad you hit on sales tax. I just want to say, you guys, I know we had a ton of questions about, do I charge sales tax? That is a very state specific question. And I know within my state alone, very city specific. So that is something that we would definitely refer you back to research within your state, or if you are looking into getting an accountant or a CPA or working with Molly, that's something that would be a more specified topic within that industry and business. So another thing that I learned, and mind blown, you guys, is look up your cottage food law restrictions within your state. Didn't know that some states have financial caps on how much you can charge when operating under their cottage food law licensings. So Molly's shaking her like, yeah, yeah.
No, I learned a lot too. I thought this was so interesting. And it's another area, Chelsea, where it's different. It's going to be different from state to state, and maybe even from city to city, but for sure from state to state.
Yes. And we all know here how much cottage food law varies. We have friends, cookiers, bakers in other states that will say, I can do this and I can't do that. So
yeah. And Chelsea, you did a great job of diving in and figuring out exactly where your jurisdiction was at with that guidance. So
right. Minnesota has a 5K tier. See, yes, New Mexico, their tiers. I called my cottage food section on the website, and they actually called me back, and I was like, can you please give me this information? And the lady was so helpful. She answered so many questions.
That's so awesome.
It's terrifying. I was like, oh gosh, I'm gonna get somebody who's like, I guess in my mind I picture the lady from Monsters Inc., because I think I have kids and I watched that movie so much. It wasn't like that. They're definitely helpful. Something else that was really helpful, because I cannot believe, see, time flies. We have 15 minutes.
It's 8:43. I know we still have some good questions to get to.
Yes. So we're gonna hit on bank accounts. That was another big topic from last week that we got in, and then rolling throughout the different things is the separate bank accounts. Do you recommend having that?
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
Perfect.
Yes, please do. Because I remember another question we got was, what can I do to make things easier for my tax accountant at the end of the year?
Right.
That is huge, having a separate bank account for your business. Okay. And it's not that difficult to do. Whatever your preferred bank is, just go to their website and look it up. There should be like a search bar, and just put in there, open a bank account for sole proprietorship, or just put open bank account. And then you'll see what the choices are and what documents you need. But if you are an LLC, you will need like that LLC paperwork, but otherwise, you can do it as a sole proprietor.
Yes.
And the reason why is because even though at the end of the day, your Schedule C income comes to your, front of your 1040 tax return, you have an opportunity with that Schedule C income to write off expenses
Mm-hmm.
against the income. And so if you don't have that income and expense segregated, it's really cumbersome at the end of the year, or say in the beginning of the next quarter, in the first quarter of the next year. It's like a huge pain in the what to try and go through all of your receipts, try and go through all your bank accounts, or give your accountant this mess and then get charged 3 times the amount you should be charged for your taxes. So it will save you so much headache in the end if you just do that in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then that will also allow you to use an accounting system that you can use to keep your financial data organized for your business, or you can engage with someone to help you run that file. Like a great one for all of us here would be QuickBooks Online.
Yep.
And
QuickBooks.
Oh, awesome. I love QuickBooks.
Yes. Which I want to jump in and say that was one of our poll questions this week, which was very interesting to see how people keep track of their finances. A lot of people like to use their Excel spreadsheets for that. And we're not sponsored, I wish, but there are things like QuickBooks, and another app is called Stride that I had used in the past. Mm-hmm. And it really makes it easy, guys, where you can take a picture of your receipt and already pre-populate it into a category of, is this business supplies? Is this accounting? Was this printing, travel? So it already helps label it out. So I can see if I'm like, ooh, if I needed to cut costs in my budget, how much am I really spending on cookie cutters? Because I know we are all spending so much on those things. Yes. You want to keep collecting. So it's a great way. Speaking of receipts, yes. As an accountant, do we keep receipts? Do we need to keep itemized receipts?
That is a very good question. So, you made a good point that QuickBooks Online will let you keep the receipts on there. Yeah. But it's not a bad idea to still keep the physical copy if you have it. I mean, the QuickBooks is pretty reliable, mm-hmm. But still, you should keep your receipts for the duration that you could be audited by the IRS. So there's a statute of limitations, how long, the IRS has to call you to require you.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you definitely want to keep your documentation through that date.
Is it 3 years, 6 years, 5 years? What is it?
I believe it's 6 years.
Okay, 6 years. Perfect.
Yeah.
And just a little tip for you guys. When I came from the bank, we would do this often for people that were coming in with business, is those thermal receipts that you get from like Walmart, Target, they fade over time. So if you're not scanning them into your system or taking a picture and uploading it into a program, you can photocopy them if you want, if that's like something better for you, and the photocopy is not going to fade. You just need that physical copy of it.
Interesting.
So people come in all the time saying, can you make photocopies?
Oh, wow.
Receipts. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's fun. All right. So we're just trying to, I'm sorry. See, I told you these hours fly. We want to make sure we're getting into it. Yeah. So we have kind of made it through the journey of our general. So the big question that everyone always has is taxes, those things that none of us want to talk about. So on our federal taxes, can you give us something on like write-offs? Like, I know we all want write-offs, but what are write-offs? What could be a write-off? What's something I'm looking for here?
Right. So this is a huge part of why you want to keep good track of your expenses so that you can know what they are and be able to write them off. Mm-hmm. Some good general ones relate to, for example, like advertising and promotion. If you have like Google ads or something like that, that would fall under advertising. If you have a website developing expense, or people who make graphic art for you, things like that, that would qualify. So I think you all should think about those type of expenses.
Yes.
But then you can also deduct some different expenses as they relate to your vehicle and car, around, especially how, depending on how heavily you're using that in your business, but typically you are.
For like
Whether,
deliveries and things in that
right,
sense. Yeah.
right. So, definitely think about those expenses, to the extent that you have them, what could the business cover?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, if you are interested in a deductible, the business obviously has to pay for it. I just say that to so everyone keeps in mind, you have to think about what bucket you're paying for things out of when you
That
open
makes
your
sense.
new bank account.
Yeah, that's a great way. And that's, again, another added benefit of keeping that separate bank account. So you can say, okay, well, I had to pay for all of my boxes and all of my shred, and I had to drive down to the post office and get them, and all
Exactly.
of these things. I kind of, like, with speaking with you and stuff, really related it to like everything I touch that I'm reaching for every day. I'm like, this is something that I could not do my business without. Like my mixer, I could not make my cookies without my mixer.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
it's really like, it's been so eye-opening, guys, and I'm telling you, like, it's amazing when you have that extra, like, am I crazy? Is this really something I can write off? Like, I need to purchase a mixer, an oven, something to operate my business. So
Yeah.
I love that, really thinking about it in that way. Another huge question, we got two of them, and I'm laughing because it's uncomfortable in the sense that we've all been there saying, is this really a thing? Is self-employment tax a thing?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It came up on my taxes one year, and I was like, wait, I owe you to be self-employed?
Yes, this is
Yes.
so. And so that's part of why you want, to capture your business expenses so that you can have some deductions against that tax that you owe as self-employed. So I think the rule is if you make over a certain amount, you have to report your self-employment income. It's $400. So if you make over $400 in your business, you have to report it as self-employment. And then the deal with self-employment tax is that when you have income, or sorry, when you get paid like as a W-2 employee, you as the employee pay payroll taxes, and so does that employer. So the self-employment tax is basically our government's way of saying, oh, you're self-employed. Okay, you're the employee and you're the employer. So we need you to pay, X percent up to, I think it's 15.3% up to 142,000 something, of income is what you have to pay both on the employee and employer side. And then again, your that burden or that tax liability is absorbed to the extent it can be with what deductible expenses you have. And then of course you will, typically owe something after that.
Right.
So I don't forget another thing nugget we talked about that's really important is to know, just to think about or engage with who your professional is around your taxes to understand if you need to make estimated payments throughout the year.
Yes, that was a big question. Quarterly, annually, what? Am I doing it wrong? How do I know? So what does quarterly mean?
So typically all of the sales tax that you need to pay is a quarterly obligation, like it might be a monthly deadline or quarterly. I think it's a quarterly return, but you can pay monthly. So that one is required, quarterly, and so are payroll taxes. I know we haven't talked a lot about payroll because you all probably aren't that interested in payroll, but
not all of us have employees on that scale yet. We could be working there.
Are required, quarterly. So your federal tax and your state tax for your income that is shown on your end of year tax returns it's due, at a certain time when you file your taxes. But basically I encourage my clients to think about paying that quarterly tax so that we're not hugely burdened in quarter one next year. Okay. Because on a large, some of my larger scale clients, I could, at the end of when the tax CPA does their analysis, they could owe in whatever it is for that business, $100,000 or whatever. And they have, it's in their best interest to make estimated payments on that before it's owed. So that you can consult with your professional about, but typically probably for the size that you all are running, it would be fine for that federal and state piece to be taken care of, like as you file your annual taxes.
Yeah. So quarterly is kind of just you're keeping ahead of the game. So you're not like smack the wall of this is how much you owe.
Exactly. Because what your tax professional, as they're doing your taxes, it will ask what estimated quarterly payments you have made, if any. Mm-hmm. And then it reduces your liability.
That makes sense.
Right at that time. So it just makes life easier, and it keeps you, I think, it keeps the business owner on track of what their real profitability is in their pocket.
Right. Because I know we all get to the end like, yeah, I make money. I got money to pay my bills. But it's like, is that really profit?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Then you have less of a chance of overspending and being sorry about that once you get your full picture of the whole year.
Does it help too, as you adjust, quarter one, you're like, oh gosh, I don't want to pay that much out because I don't you can kind of adjust the budget as you go through the year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. I don't want to hit the time on here. So I'm going to ask you one quick follow-up question on this. Paying yourself.
Yes.
Can you give us a quick wrap up on that? That was a big question is, should I be paying myself? Do I just collect how do I cut myself a separate paycheck? How does this work?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, of course, you're in this too for more than just the fun.
Right.
So, right. So how we handle that is, my clients are all on different spectrums when it comes to this. I have one client who takes, a certain amount every week, and we consider it a draw. So,
hold on, we have 1 minute remaining.
Okay. So you
guys
can do.
Yeah, if we get kicked out, I will pop back in for the live. So just rejoin. I promise you, and I'll add Molly back who won't be here. Because we have an amazing offer for you guys and an amazing little treat and nugget. So you know what, actually, just to save that so that we don't just get cut off mid-sentence, I am going to pop out and I am going to restart the live. So I will re-add you to this. All right, we're back.
Hey, hi.
It always happens to us. We got to get better at this for us. Oh, man. All right, so we'll wrap up on paying yourself. Yeah, yes. See, guys, it's like we never left. Just right after this sponsored commercial. Yeah, it's our commercial, It's our breather break. Everyone chug water. So, paying ourselves. So you do have some people who pay themselves weekly.
Yes.
And just take it out. And then what is another way?
Now, I will tell you that's a very seasoned business.
Okay.
That does that. We know what that business is making. It pretty much consistently makes that. And so it's safe for her for us to take that every week. Mm-hmm. I have another entrepreneur who, lucky for her, doesn't have to necessarily use her income to support her life. So we kind of just use her money as a savings account. And then, we decide larger type of expenditures or things like that. And it depends on where you're at in your business, but I would recommend at least looking to take a draw is what it's called. About a month is a good kind of rule of thumb.
Perfect. Yeah, that's good. So yay. And again, guys, that's going to be specific with your business. So that would be something that if you're looking to add somebody into your tool belt, they would definitely help you with that.
Yes.
Well, Molly, we have kept you more than the hour, clearly, because Instagram lets us know. But I just want to say thank you so much for being here. I know we threw so many things at you and so many what if panic situations, like what if I'm negative? What if I don't file my taxes? All of those things. So thank you. We really appreciate you taking your time to do this.
You're welcome.
Please tell our followers where they can find you, and then you guys will tell you our little treat that we have.
Yes, absolutely. Let me just try to type it here in the chat. You can find me at greenflexfinancial.com.
Wonderful.
Is where my website is. And hold on, I can't do this.
It's okay.
Got it. Okay. So if you go to my website, you can connect with me there. Also, you can always email me at molly@greenflexfinancial.com. And on my website, you'll see a appointment booking button. It says book an appointment. And if you click on that, you will see a special gift to you cookie chat participants. I know, this is a tough thing to talk about in terms of it, in a general way. But for those of you who really have some specific questions and you really, even want me to take a look at your situation in a certain way, or your QuickBooks file, or help you get your QuickBooks file going, or just talk more specifics about your situation, I'm inviting you to sign up for a 1-hour appointment with me that we will have over Zoom. And I'm offering a special rate to you cookie chat participants. And then in that hour that we spend together, we'll just take a little bit deeper dive. I ask you a few questions before you sign up for that appointment. And that way I can be prepared for our time together and we can make the most out of it. But if you're interested then in like having a long-term relationship, like we talked about with a CPA and financial, consultant like me, then that's something we can definitely talk about during that hour too. But I just wanted to offer those of you who are interested a little more time, because I know this is a hard thing to talk about in a general way.
It is. And thank you so much for doing that. We appreciate that. And we hope that you guys take advantage of it. I mean, I've learned so much in just this week and a half, 2 weeks. I'm like, I think I need to sit down and just like checklist. It's been amazing, but we are going to ask you, because we are a baking community, some quick questions. Okay.
Okay.
Put you on the spot.
Oh my
What
goodness.
is your favorite flavor of cake?
My favorite oh my gosh. Look, I'm like sweating. You asked me about it. I can talk about it, but I wasn't prepared for this. No,
what do you like to eat? What's your favorite cake flavor?
Okay, my favorite cake flavor is I'm gonna cry just thinking about it. It's a family favorite, and I love the funfetti cake flavor.
Oh,
so
yes.
I prefer a vanilla cake, but I love that funfetti one. And so
yes.
Also then to have like a homemade version of that is amazing.
I love it. Go ahead.
I have a second favorite though.
Oh, tell us.
Lemon. I'm a lemon fanatic.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, that icing is so good on lemon cakes.
Yes, and it just gets my taste buds jumping.
Right?
So I love a nice lemon flavored cake too.
Love it. What is your favorite cookie flavor?
Okay, my favorite I'm just so typical on this one. Hands down, chocolate chip.
Oh, it's okay. We all love that.
Love me a good chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because my family, we're food people, like I mentioned, but I have a couple siblings in particular who are really amazing bakers. And so they have very favorite cookie recipes, and sometimes they make me special cookies. But then we also have this chocolate chip cookie recipe that we just, salivate over, and it's kind of like turns into a competition is what I mean.
Who can make it?
But the one tasting everything.
There you go. And last hot spot question. Are you team tea or team coffee? What is your drink of choice?
This is a great question. If I had to pick one, I'm definitely team coffee.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. But I'll disclaim that and say I'm actually both, because I was raised by a tea drinker. So I have this desire. My mother is a really great tea drinker. So I have an upbringing around tea and I love tea. But in my profession, coffee got a hold of me.
Oh, yeah. We all agree to this. We know that. There's so many people on here that are night bakers. So it's 9 o'clock and they're burning that night oil. So, yes.
But now in my life today, I like to have my coffee in the morning, and then I do, especially during the cooler months and everything, because I'm in the Midwest, guys. So I love to have like a hot cup of tea, in the afternoon. Or sometimes in the evening, I like to have my tea too.
That's good.
The calm, sleepy time tea. I don't know if anybody's heard of that one, or calming tea. I like to have it.
Love that. So yeah, you guys, this has been amazing. I hope you learned something. I know I did. Again, follow Molly. We have listed her in our stories. And again, we'll tag her in the description of this video. Head over to her website, get your session. Next week, you won't just have to stare at my face, but Miss Melissa will be back. And she will be well rested from vacation and ready to go on our next live. We will be announcing our next episode on Sunday. I can't even believe we're on to the next episode here. I've just been like so down the rabbit hole of looking at my finances that I'm not ready for the next. But we will be announcing that on Sunday in our post and in our stories. So make sure you pay attention to the stories, because we're going to have some fun ones here this weekend, since we've covered so many things the past 2-3 weeks that we know can be a lot. So we're right here with you guys. Oh my goodness, my husband's calling. See, it says an hour. I don't have...
Your time is up.
I know. I don't have her here, but for our wonderful appreciation, may your cakes never be dry and your cookies be shiny and crater free. So we appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much. And thank you again, Molly. We love you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun spending time with you guys.
Good. Have a great one, guys. Bye.
Bye.